expecting your sex life to look the same when you are 20 and 30 and 50 and 70 is not helpful for you. And so allowing it to mature as you mature is the most helpful thing that you can do for yourself, I think, when it comes to your sex life.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Hey, babe. Okay. This might be the first guest that is coming on for a third appearance. I think she won. I could be wrong, but I think she won. Dr. Celeste Holbrook is back. She's back. We're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about fawning. We're going to talk about her book. We're going to talk about the journey that one goes on to get their work out into this world. And so even if you are like, I don't want to talk about the sex part, well, we should talk about the sex part. That's actually what we should do. But I want you to hear this because I think it's so easy to hear people on a podcast go, oh, it's so easy for them because they got on a podcast. It's so easy. And you don't hear all the doors that get shut all the time. And I also am excited for you to hear, there are people in this world who just want to help each other out. And I think we need evidence of that. And I'm super, super excited that I get to be a cheerleader for amazing humans in this world like that. When I think about my genius zone or something like that, sometimes I think it's that I just get to cheer on people who are doing hard things and go, I see you and you're doing great and I can't wait. I can't wait. So guys, I'm going to stop this because we're going to get right into it. And if this is the first time you're hearing about Dr. Celeste Holbrook, I really encourage you to go back to the first two episodes we did together. Go do the oldest one, then the second one, because I think you'll get a full picture of everything. We talk about a lot of good stuff. So she's going to change your life. All right, here she is. All right. So you guys, we're just going to get right into this episode. Dr. Celeste Holbrook is back, you guys. Third time. Won't be the last time. I somehow have to have her on annually, I think. Celeste, will you tell everyone why you're back? Let's just start there.
Okay. So I'm so excited. I can't even contain myself. So I'm back because I have a book out, and I have a book really, truly because of Lesley Logan, because I have tried to publish this book for so long with traditional publishing, and I just got closed door after closed door after closed door for a lot of different reasons, which maybe we do and don't go into. I don't know. But Lesley reached out to me and was like, Celeste, I have this company. They do professional publishing. They're really great. And I just latched onto it and I did every single thing that they suggested. And it was such a beautiful experience. So the whole point of this is I have a book, and I have a book because of you. And I want to aggressively love you today for encouraging me to do this.
I am taking all that love. Also, this podcast is why you have it. Because I met that guy because I interviewed him. And I have to I'll have to go back to the archives, figure out how I got this person. But I interviewed him and I'm like, I really like this person. I think he's great. I've written a book and I would have loved this help. Then because I met him and had him on the pod, we had 3 of our clients use him. So I got to see from different perspectives how it was. And here's the thing, you were always on my feed. The algorithm would always send you, and I just love all your stuff. And then it kind of stopped because I don't know, that's how the algorithm works.
Yeah.
And I happened to look at your stories. It was your stories, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And you were sharing this thing. And I'm not normally someone who's let me go in on the 6 minutes of a story. But I was I'm procrastinating. I'm in. And so I was like, wow, what perfect timing this was, because I could have easily missed that whole section. And so I'm just so grateful for divine. I think that there's divine appointments and divine interventions in a non-church way, guys. But we're meant to be in each other's lives. And this book. Okay. So I guess in case people don't know who you are, maybe we should do a quick, who are you? Because we have new listeners, right? Hi, new listeners. You're going to want to go back to the other 2. We're going to link them in the show notes. But can you tell everyone who you are and what you rock at?
Yes, absolutely. So, my name is Dr. Celeste Holbrook. I am a sex educator and I have a PhD in health behaviors with a postgraduate emphasis in sexual behaviors. So, I help people, a lot of women and lots of couples, figure out how to make sex better, whether that is they are experiencing pain or they're experiencing shame from growing up in like ultra religious household, or they just need like some help through menopause or through after having a baby or things like that. So I am your very practical sexual health help. That's what I do.
I love it, the practical, 'cause, like, like, I will say, having lived in LA and going to different sex shops, you don't look like the person who works at a sex shop.
No, no.
Not to, to stereotype, but there would be a
Sure.
type that, like, works at the sex shop, and it's not you.
Yeah. No, it's not me, and I just wanna be super accessible because not everybody wants to, like, swing from the chandeliers all the time, you know? A lot of people are out there just struggling to find the time to connect. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I have had a conversation about what to do with the dog in your bedroom when you wanna have sex, so the dog's not looking over at you or jumping on the bed or like, these are the practical applications that we are talking about in sex education in my consult sessions.
Yeah. Well, and because I think everyone's just so overwhelmed. Like, I saw something on someone's stories, and they're like, went to their niece's, like, soccer game, and she's, like, looking around, she's like, "No wonder no one's having sex." Like, everybody is at this soccer game, and they're exhausted, and they get the soccer game, they're fighting about to do, "Oh, you forgot the thing." Like, no. She's
No,
like, "No wonder.
exactly right.
Nobody wants to have sex after this."
No, no, why? Would you want to have sex after that? Exactly right. That's exactly right. Yep.
So I wanna touch on, like, there's a lot of different chapters, and maybe this is something that your book covers, but, like, there's I think when we're younger and, like, it feels like it's easier to do things maybe, and then you get older and, like, there's more responsibilities and there's more stuff to think about, and, like, it becomes something that goes on wayside, and then your hormones change. So, in your book, do you cover, like, the journeys that we're all going on? Or is it more specifically for people from the purity culture? Like, what were you excited to write about?
Sure. So the book is called, I have the manuscript and printed out right here. It's called Missionary Position.
Yes.
A slightly irreverent guide to sex after purity culture. So I do take the approach of like you growing up in a purity culture background, in like a high demand religion background, evangelical culture, things like that. But the book is in four parts. So like a four-part guide to basically healing. And you can apply these steps to any issue you are having in sex. So yes, I do talk quite a bit about the effects of purity culture and how to overcome those effects, but you can apply it to, you know, the trauma you had from a sexual assault. You can apply it to just the doldrums of being married to the same old penis for like 20 years or whatever. You know, like you can apply these steps to anybody. So basically there's four steps and I have made them into archetypal women. So your first step is your analyst. She's like the nerd. She's looking at like, okay, what are we carrying around? What does your backpack look like that you're carrying around? Is it full of shame? Is it full of neglect? Is it full of fear? Like she's the analyst. Your second archetypal woman is your assassin. So she is taking what the analyst has found and she is just like slicing through it, right? She's your assassin. She's your inner assassin. She's your deconstruction, basically. Your third archetypal woman is your healer. So after you've done the work of understanding what's in your backpack, slicing out what needs to go, then your healer starts helping you regenerate your ideas about sex through a gentle re-education. So we're relearning about some things that maybe we have always thought one way about. Maybe
Mhm.
we're relearning about the idea of virginity. We're relearning about masturbation. We're relearning about what great sex is, right? The healer is our gentle re-education. And then our fourth archetypal woman is our explorer. And she's like gonna try some new things. She's gonna go to the sex toy store. She's going to touch herself in a new way. And maybe if that's too much, maybe she's gonna try sex with the lights on. Right. And so these are the four women. They represent four steps. And within each step, there are some really practical things that you can do to help move you to the next step. So you can apply this to any issue you're having in sex and get to the other side where you're now exploring, you're trying new things.
Mm. That's a way I mean, well, like an archetype. I like that. And you've been on my mind a lot lately because society is quite interesting right now. Like the trad wife situation. I'm like, that looks really beautiful. Like I would love, like I have white countertops. I'd love them to clean all the time. I'm certainly not capable of doing it, but I'm like, I don't know that I think they're doing a really good job marketing a beautiful aesthetic without
Aesthetic, yeah.
realizing like all the stuff that comes with that, like all the religious stuff that comes with that and how that can harm how we feel about our bodies. And I like was raised in purity culture and I didn't think it affected me. I'm like, I'm good. But actually, no. Actually, I remember like I'm
But
going,
no,
oh, it does, because you're like, you think that you're like, oh, I'm on that. But that doesn't affect me. Like you start to realize, even if you weren't raised in church, just the way that public school systems have appropriated some of the modesty rules, like what you're told what you can wear to school and how thick the tank top strap can be. And you can't be disruptive, even though the boys' pants are halfway down their legs and I'm looking at underwear all the time. So
correct.
I think that even for people who weren't raised where they were told, like, your father has you until you're given away to someone else, there is some level where all of us were affected by, like, don't be a distraction. Don't make sure you don't wear that so you don't look like like you're not attracting bad people, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I totally agree, Leslie. I think that there's very few people in the United States that have a great, comprehensive, inclusive sex education. I think
Yeah.
very few of us. I think this is changing, and hopefully, with we're cycle breaking next generations. But American society in general wants to put sex on either end of a spectrum. We want to either like don't think about it, don't talk about it. This is not for you until you are reaching a certain age or marriage or whatever. And then on the other side is like, why aren't you liberated enough to do all these things? Like, so there's these two like ends of the spectrum, and all of us really live in the middle.
Yeah.
None of us is really on either side at all, but it like breaks America's brain to try and think about like living outside of one of those two spectrum. So I talk about in the book about the non-binary. We are not binary people as far as what we want to do in our sex life, and figuring out how do you live in the middle area, which we often call gray, but I call glitter. That's the
Yes.
most
Yes.
it's the most fabulous place to live, is in the middle, in this glittery middle where you get to define your own sex ethic based on your value system, on your intuition, on your sex education, and you get to decide what works best for you. And maybe that is boundaries around when you have sex. Awesome. As long as it's your choice, that's amazing. And maybe that is opening your relationship up and trying swinging or whatever it is. That's awesome. As long as it's your decision and not one manipulated by society or cultural values or religious values.
Yeah. I think I like to think about that. Even this thing, you're right. It's America. It's people like, I'm in the Pilates industry.
Hmm.
And I said something the other day where I was like, well, you can say that, but it doesn't, like, there's also the idea that we can prepare people for an exercise, right? And this person like went off on me and I was like, so you need to understand that what you're mad about me is what you're doing here. Second, Pilates is not black or white. It's not this or that. It's a lot of gray. It's a lot of glitter. Like,
Glitter.
it's like, because our bodies are different and where we are in our practice, where we are in our life, maybe what season we're in. Maybe you're in a season of young children. It's going to be very different what you're wanting and ready
Yes.
for and have the capacity to take on versus they're teenagers and out of the house and really don't care where you are versus we
Yeah.
don't have kids at all. Like, there's all these different seasons. And I think we're like, oh, this is how I've always liked it. So this is how I have to keep liking it.
Yes, yes. That's so wise, Leslie. That's so wise. I think there are a lot of, and we talked about this in our last podcast together, a lot of the similarities between what happens in sex and what happens in like a workout space or Pilates space, as far as how we view our bodies and
Mm,
what we feel is like right, or what we feel is appropriate, I guess, for our
yeah.
bodies. Like, I should be wanting this because that's what I did when I was 27, or I should be looking like this because that's what I looked like when I was whatever 30 or whatever. And I think there's lots of room to allow ourselves compassion to grow as we grow in our sex life, in our workouts, in whatever. Expecting your sex life to look the same when you are 20 and 30 and 50 and 70 is not helpful for you.
Yeah.
And so allowing it to mature as you mature is the most helpful thing that you can do for yourself, I think, when it comes to your sex life.
Yeah. We'll keep talking about this. It'll come up, but I do want to go back to like the journey of this book because this book has been
Mm.
in you for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I think whether or not people want to write a book, you can insert goal, whatever your
Yeah.
goal is, because we will all in trying to get something out into the world or get something that we desire done, hit roadblocks. So you hit some roadblocks. Can we talk about how many years of roadblocks? Can we talk about what kind of roadblocks you were hitting and like how did you keep going? Because quite honestly, I'm surprised you even told the story. You know what I mean? Like I'm surprised you didn't go, okay, well, that's that. The door has been slammed shut.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really appreciate you asking this because I know sex is really fun to talk about, but this is like my personal, like lifelong dream is to have a book. And I feel really seen when you ask about the process of it. And when I think about the be it till you see it, bold, executable, I think I'm getting this right,
Yeah.
intrinsic, targeted.
Yes.
So I think about my word for this year was bold. So that was like like, I got to be more bold. I want to say what I want to say. I don't want to be making myself smaller anymore. So the story behind the book, I have always thought about writing a book. I myself am a slow reader. I don't read very fast. And for a long, long time, I thought I was dumb
Mm,
because I don't read very fast, which is silly when I think about it now. But all growing up, I was slower than all of my friends reading. It was frustrating to read. And I was still a good student. I still did all of the things that I needed to do, but I just took time. I just took more time to write, to read, all of those things. And I think in part that's what made me get a PhD because I wanted to prove to myself that I wasn't dumb.
yeah.
Turns out I'm not
No.
dumb. I need to go at my own pace. And so one of the things that you talk about a lot on the podcast is like, how do you prioritize yourself? I prioritize myself by allowing myself to go at my own pace. Like I can read as slow as I need to read. I can answer emails as slow as I need to answer emails. It's frustrating to me and other people, but at the end of the day, like it it's honestly who I am. I'm just considerate and slow and thoughtful. And I've learned to like that about myself instead of hate that about myself. So the idea of writing a book was really like tantalizing to me, but I had a lot of insecurities about my ability to actually do it. I'd written a dissertation, which is, in my opinion, harder because it's boring.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's one of the reasons why I like stopped going to school. I was like, I can't write another boring paper.
Oh my God, like, who's reading? Like, my mom didn't even read it. She's like, "Oh, congratulations." And it's like collecting dust, right? So I had done that, and so I thought like, well, if I'd written a dissertation, you just take it chunk at a time, I can surely write a book. So in 2016, Nate and I was like, "Nate, I really want to write a book. I'm gonna go to a writers conference." So he's like, "Great, let's go." I was like, "Found one in Hawaii." He's like, "Even better, let's go."
I love when a goal and a tax write-off can be in a place you wanna go.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. We ended up getting a tent. There's like these glamping tents on Maui that you can get, and it's just like really fun. It's like on the beach, but you still have like sort of a bathroom, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So we were like, we needed to do it on cheap because we were kind of broke. Like got these glamping tents and I went to this writers conference during the day and Nate did whatever during the day while I was at this writing conference. And it was through Hay House and there was a contest. So if you went to the writers conference and you wrote a proposal, you could enter it in and they were going to pick 3 writers to give a book deal to. I went and this is me being so sure of myself. Like, yes, I spent a lot of time feeling insecure about my reading and writing, but for the most part, my whole life, I have been like, with no good reason, confident. Like, I'm just like, I don't know, confident.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. That's so many people don't inherently have that, and, like, to kinda have that and then use it is a wonderful it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I just was like, "No, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna write this proposal. People are gonna love it. I'm gonna get this competition." Anyway, long story short, did not win
Oh,
none of
I
the
thought
first
this
3
was going
prizes.
towards you won. I
No.
was so excited going, "Oh my god, she won it."
No. I
Look at
didn't
me,
even
like,
get, like, a
I
second look.
I automatically just assume you're gonna slay, so I'm just like, "She won."
This is about closed doors, Leslie.
Okay, that's true, that's true, it's true.
Yes. So, I did not win. I was for sure I was gonna win, did not win. Not even like a hello, right? So, I was like, "Oh, maybe I need to work a little harder." So, I had this whole proposal. My book was like looking back, I'm like, "I'm so glad that I didn't win." My book was called Sexual Wealth.
Oh, yeah, that's not you.
It's not me. I was like it was like sex through finance bro language or something, and I was just like, this is a terrible idea." But the spark was there, like, I really
Yeah.
wanted to write a book. So, that was 2016, I kind of held on to it, thought about it, kind of put it in a drawer for a while. In 2019, I got on a fairly large podcast with Jen Hatmaker. So, she's an author, and she does a lot of work in like the ex-evangelical space or had started down that road. So I got on this podcast through just like pitching. I got on this podcast. It's a pretty big podcast. And not long after that, a person from HarperCollins, like a division of HarperCollins, reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you ever considered writing a book?" So the publisher reached out to me, which is very unusual.
Whoa, that is cool though, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, very unusual. Usually you are pitching to publishers. So they heard me on the podcast and they were like, "Hey, we're interested in you submitting a proposal." I'm like, I'm freaking out. Like, this is so exciting, right?
Yeah.
I realize I probably need representation. So I get a literary agent. I kind of shop around and get a literary agent. She's amazing, Rochelle. And I end up pitching my proposal. I work it out, I update it from sexual wealth to something else. I update it, I pitch it, and they're pretty slow. The publishing industry is
Oh.
slow. You know this. You know this. So slow.
I've
Um,
watched too many of my friends write books, and I'm so great. I'm proud of all of them, but also the ones that have gone traditional publishing, it is slow, like molasses moves faster. You guys, like that's, like just don't hold your breath.
Oh my gosh, it's the slowest process of all time. And so I was like, okay, they reached out to me. So I'm here in my very confident space, like, oh no, yeah, they're gonna choose. They reached out to me. Why wouldn't they choose me? At this point, I have like 1,500 followers. I have zero, like, I have no platform, right? I still have a very small platform, but a bunch of really engaged, lovely humans. So I'm fairly sure they're gonna choose me. Eventually, months and months and months later, they get back to me and they're like, "Yes, we want." It was literally like, I don't know, 6 months later. They're like, "We wanna offer you a contract, and we wanna go under contract." Just small, it's a $20,000 contract. They're gonna pay me 10,000 upfront and then 10,000 the book publishes. I was like, "Great." I have to pay out my agent too. So I'm coming home with like $8,500.
Yeah.
Was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Just to get one dime to like,
Yeah, I mean that
publish.
you
It's
got
amazing.
anything, 'cause it's not always normal that even a first-time writer gets anything until the book sells. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So I was thrilled. I was thrilled. So I start writing my little heart out. They don't actually give me anything, a contract or anything until my first draft is due. So I turn in my first draft and then they sign me. So I write the whole book without a contract. So submit the first draft. This is like March of 2020. So keep that in to
Yeah.
context. Things that
Yeah.
are
Things are
happening.
things are going on. They
And
don't know
things are
what.
going on.
Yeah.
What's happening? So I get my first round of edits back. I'm still super excited. And then in July, my agent calls me and she's like, "I hate to have this conversation with you, but your book has been orphaned. Your editor left the company and nobody else wants to pick it up."
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So this is like, in the big scheme of things, like, it was the way it needed to work out because they were already giving me feedback. It was a W, the imprint, and I'm not trying to slander any publishing industry, but this is just what happened to me, right?
Yeah.
I was getting feedback of like, "Oh, I don't know if you should like go that hard," or "I don't know if you might alienate readers if you talk about religion in this way," or,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose your Catholic audience. I'm like, I'm not trying to make the Catholics happy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
When I interviewed, I don't know if it was in my interview, but when I was talking with Daniela Mastinik Young, who wrote Uncultured, she was only allowed to talk about 3 sexual, like, misconduct things that happened to her, and not even the worst ones. They actually, like, got rid Yes. Yeah, they were like, and you can
oh
only
god.
talk like, she had to, and she's been very vocal about it. She's like, because she was talking about God and all these things, and, like, they're like, "Yeah, you can't really talk about that," and then she was, like, saying that she got raped in the military, and they're like, "So we don't like, maybe we just do only one of those," like, very, and she was with a publisher, and she got it published, but it's a watered down version of her story because apparently readers wouldn't be able to handle the true thing, and it's like, like, how are we supposed to change the world? We don't know what's
Right.
going on. So anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that kind of from, different places, like, "Oh, yeah, I had to, like, say this instead of that," or whatever, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's a little bit happening to me," and I had written it with the understanding, like, this is for a still Christian audience. I understood this, it was with a Christian publisher, so I'm like, "That's fine," like, as a sex educator, you have to be able to be fluid enough to write to the audience that's in front of you. Like,
Right.
when I go speak, sometimes I'm in front of really conservative audiences and I adapt my language. That's fine. Like,
Yeah.
that's okay to do. I still feel helpful. I still feel like I'm pushing the envelope, but in a way that feels the most accessible for the audience in front of me. So I'm okay adjusting, but also like I didn't want to water it down so much that I felt like it wasn't me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, anyway, lost my contract in July 1st of 2020, which was and that whole thing, the whole next 2 years was really difficult. My husband is an emergency medicine physician,
Oh god.
and it was just a real hard time
Yeah.
in the family.
Yeah, no, lots going on, lots of stress, lots of worry, lots, yeah, you're afraid.
Yeah,
Also, like, also we live where we live, and not everyone believe we're going through certain things, so that's even more stressful. Yeah, oh my god, that's a lot. So
yeah.
the book n hit a wall.
It hit a wall and probably at a fine time, but I was really just really sad. Rochelle, my agent, was like, "Okay, we're just gonna, like, pick it back up. We have this proposal. We have a book written. It'll be easier for another publisher to pick us up." And so we start, like, pitching to these other publishing companies. She has all these connections, she's pitching, pitching, pitching. Nothing's landing. I'm getting good feedback back, like, "Your platform's too small." That's fair. I started trying to grow it, and that's when Instagram was a little easier to grow. Now it's super hard to grow, but started growing it. I went from 1,500 to 20,000,
That's a
over
big
time.
deal because those are
Yeah.
20,000, like, those are not bought, like,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a hard follow. I get that. I have like, dildos in my videos and like I get that I'm not an easy follow. It's not and I'm, shadow banned all the time and I get all these notifications that my stuff is not being shown to new audiences. I get that. I get that I'm a hard follow. But that's what publishers want. They want you to have a ready to buy platform, which I get. They're trying to make money. But I got a lot of that feedback. I got a lot of, "Ooh, it's a little too much for us as a Christian publisher." Like, "Okay, I get that." And then it was kind of like this line for non-Christian publishers, like, we don't really talk about religion that much. And then we're not really talking about sex that much.
Right, so you're, like, too much of the different things for the different people. That's really rough because it's like, we'll never be everything for anyone, but to not feel like you fit somewhere when you have something to say, that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really hard. And I think it's what people needed.
Yeah.
It's because it's the glitter, it's the middle. Like, yeah, I don't fit into either of these spaces. I'm kinda, like, exploring the middle, right?
Yeah.
So that was the feedback I was getting, and finally, we did that for 5 years, from 2020 to 2025, October of 2025, Rochelle had a call with me, and she's like, "Honey, I have nowhere else to go. I'm sorry. This has to be the end of it. Bless her. She did the best that she had, and I'm forever grateful for her. But that was it. And that's where we're caught up to where you saw my story. And I was like, just sharing with my audience, like, I had an unhappy ending, and I'm gonna sit in my sadness right now and just tell you, like, life isn't always hunky dory for a sex educator, for anybody, for you, for me. And this is where I am right now. And I'm pissed and I'm sad. And
Yeah.
the end, right? And then sweet Lesley shows up in my DMs and she's like, babe, I have this great idea for you. I'm like, okay. And so you send me this information for this company. I have a call with, I think, Jake, who you
Yeah, Jake
interviewed. Yeah.
Kelfer. Yep.
Yep. I have a call with Jake. And let me tell you, working with them has been, and I'm not getting paid for any of this, right? For BIB, but working with them has been so healing,
Mhm.
so much agency in the process. I got to say exactly what I wanted to say. I got to go at the pace that I wanted to go. Like, it was just incredible.
So is this book like a new book? It's not what you're pitching around. It's the glitter you really wanted to write.
It's a glitter I really wanted to write.
Oh,
Totally different. Yeah.
yes. Oh, I love that. And also, like, so first of all, you guys, did you hear 5 years? 5 years. And now we're going on, like, so yeah, 5 years. And then now, but here's the other thing, like going through all of those things, you got feedback and made tweaks and did these things. So then when you're writing the book that we're going to all get to read, I can't even wait to read it. It's the best version of a book that could ever be, because it's really not your first book. You've written so many.
Yeah, I've written so many. You're totally right. You're so right. And over the course of the years, I changed, as we should. I hope I look back in 5 years and go like, yeah, I'm a different new person from who wrote this book, but I was different and I was more comfortable, like straight up saying, I'm not a Christian anymore. I was more comfortable saying like, is this a religious book? Yes, because we talk about religion. Do I identify as Christian? No, because of these reasons. Do I think we could learn some stuff from the Bible? Sure. Do I think we're going to talk about the Bible? Yes, I think we have to, because we're talking about purity culture. But I don't, certainly not in 2020 was I willing to be like, yeah, I'm not a Christian. But
Yeah.
so much stuff happened between 2020 and 2025
Yeah.
that just took me right on out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Like, I have a brother in seminary school, so it's
Mm,
very interesting around here.
yeah.
And I had just said, if all the Christians in the world actually did what Jesus said, like, we would have solved child poverty and immigration and healthcare. And I've had a family member respond, well, if everyone just came to know, and I'm like, no, nope, that's actually not what the Bible says. Here's the problem. I've read it. So like
No.
where I am in my life, which 5 years ago I was definitely not, is just like, I'm frustrated that any book has controlled people in such a way that's affecting even their sex lives, but also just the lives of people who didn't even read the book. And so that's where like I get upset. We don't have to have religious talk on this podcast, but that's just where like I'm coming from as a person with it. I'm like, I have a really hard time with it because it's not a loving world. And with all the people who say they are, believers, it should be. It should be a very
Mhm.
loving world. So I think it's really, thank you for sharing the story. This is great.
Yeah, I just want to affirm what you're saying, because I think the main bottom line for me was it has harmed more than it has helped. Has it helped? Absolutely. There's some really beautiful ways in which Christianity has helped, but has it harmed more than it has helped? I absolutely believe yes.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was the final straw. Do I think Jesus was cool? Yeah, I think he was a radical, non-white dude who did really amazing things that we can learn from, right?
Yeah.
I believe he saved me from my sins. Not really.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I landed, and I was able to say this in this book, which I would never have been able to do
Yeah.
before.
Well, also thank you for sharing it with us, because I also just someone like to see. It's a really interesting thing to say. Like my husband and I like go like to say out loud. It's very, and I don't want to speak for him because like maybe it was a different, but like it's really hard to say out loud when you're like, I don't believe anymore, and you're like, you know,
Yeah,
right?
it feels really weird.
Yeah, it does, but because it's such an identity that you're raised with. And I think going back to like that purity culture that your book is about. And by the way, everyone, like, I just want to say, like, even if you haven't been in that, I think that reading about those things really helps me. It helps make the world make sense to me. Like, I read
Yes.
Tia Leving's book, A Well-Trained Wife, and I was like, oh, I get it now. I get why they're acting like this. I get why they're thinking this. Cause like otherwise you're just like looking at people like they're aliens and you're like, I don't understand. So I also think it can be really impactful to read just to understand what are people thinking? What are they going through? Why is it harder for some people to
Mhm.
have great sex or want to have great sex or feel comfortable having great sex than for other people?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's so interesting. Most of the couples that I talk to, most of them are straight couples, heterosexual couples. And a lot of times the woman in the partnership will, talk about sex in one way and the man in the partnership will talk about sex in a different way. And they'll just be like, I just don't get it. If it feels good, why wouldn't you want to do it? And so when we kind of like deconstruct and explain, like, well, she's been taught that sex is dangerous her whole life. And so her nervous system feels on alert even when there are good things in the future to come with that sexual experience. So to have to overcome this idea of fear and danger in your nervous system just to get to the beginning of arousal is a whole different ball game than you who starts at arousal and because it feels very regulating. Like I lean into arousal because it feels regulating as a straight man who's raised in America.
Yeah.
And so like just being able to like if you're a dude who picks up this book, it might help you understand the women in your life a little bit better. Even if they didn't grow up in purity culture, most of us grow up with the idea that sex is going to harm us.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, like, yeah, it's like even if you weren't raised that way, you also, as a woman, were raised like be fearful of any man who's coming near you,
Yes.
walking up next to you, like all these different things. And so it is very difficult to just like let that go. It's not like it's like, oh, it's Halloween. I can get Todd candy from a stranger now. Like it doesn't work like that, Like it
Right.
is, especially because it's like your whole life, these just little things that are being told. I think that's great for men to read. I think what a wonderful way to think about it, who this book could be helpful for.
Yeah.
I want to take a brief detour because you said something on your Instagram a bit ago that truly like blew my mind and also made so much sense, right? You said if you're faking an orgasm, you're fawning, right? It's a fawn response. So can we talk about what a fawn response is and that a little bit? Because I think too many women do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
I've
only
done
say
it.
that because I have friends who talk about it and I'm like, I mean,
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. I just would be
Yeah.
like, it's not working today, sir.
Wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've done it when I was experiencing really painful sex when I first got married because of vaginismus, because of purity culture. Like I did anything to try and get out of the situation, right? So a fawn response is something that we do in response to something traumatic. When something traumatic happens, we go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So fawn is I'm pleasing, this circumstance or person in my life, so there are no negative consequences. All right. So when we have fake orgasms, and a lot of women have a lot of guilt around doing this, and this is why I posted that because I want you to feel not guilty about this.
Yeah.
I don't want you to do it forever, but I want you to understand why you're doing this. We fawn response an orgasm when we feel overwhelming pressure to have an orgasm. When we
Mm.
feel overwhelming pressure to have an orgasm, it's coming from a fragile man who cannot handle or has put too much value on your ability to come as a validation for his ability to be great. Right? I put too much pressure on your ability to come is a validation of my ability to be good or great. So part of the work has to become men saying like my validation is not wrapped up in her ability to come without saying I still can't give her pleasure.
Mhm.
It's kind of it's nuanced,
Yeah.
but I really want women to understand when you're fawning, when you're faking an orgasm, you are essentially doing harm reduction. I don't want the negative consequences of his fragility, so I will fake it so I don't have to deal with that. That
Right.
is easier for me. That is harm reduction.
Right. 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 And one would hope that a conversation or few could be had. Like, here's what's going on, and here's how I don't want you to feel. And here, like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably where you come in.
Yes. Yeah, it's a really delicate situation. I do have lots of times people come in and the woman in the partnership will be like, "Hey, like, this is what's going on, and this is why I want us together to come, but to sessions, but like I don't know how to tell him. Like it's been years and I've been faking it for years, right? Okay, no problem. We don't have to. I don't believe full transparency is always kind. I
Yeah.
believe in honesty. I don't necessarily believe in full transparency. Like you can be really unkind with full transparency, but you can still be honest. Like, hey, I really want to experience a little bit more sensation when we have sex. Can we work on some new techniques? Can I show you how I masturbate? Can we take it slower so I can feel something different? I really want to make my orgasms stronger, right? So we can be clear with what we want going forward without being like, you know what? I faked it for the last 12 years, right?
Yeah.
Because that's on you for for not saying something as well.
Yeah. Cause that doesn't like it can only be, it's not anyone's fault, but also like they can't change if they
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so
Yeah.
brilliant. You're so amazing. Okay, when is the book coming out? When do I get to read it? When can I pre-order? Like,
You
what's
are so cute. So it'll by the time this drops, it'll already be out and we'll send links to you to upload it, but it
okay.
comes out on June 10th. And so it's right around the corner.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna pre-order. Or I'll order on June 10th so we can make you a #1 best-selling author. We get whatever
Yeah.
we gotta do so I can write my authenticated review after buying it. All the
Thank
things. I
you.
can't wait. I'll take it with me on tour.
Thank you. I'm so like, I just like, I'm cheesing so hard because I'm so excited about it. I reread it again this morning, just like as a skim to look at all the layout on the pages. And I'm just so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. Like, if it finally is here.
Oh my god, I have so many chills. I'm gonna cry. Okay, we're gonna take a brief break. We're gonna find out
Okay.
people can find you, follow you, and work with you.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Celeste Holbrook, where do you hang out? You said Instagram. Is there anywhere else? What links? What handles? Where can they go to buy the book? Is it on your website? All the things.
Yes, the book is on the website, but you can buy it the most easily on Amazon. If you do, please leave a review. That would be really helpful. And you can go to my website to get into Pleasure Club. That's my monthly subscription where we have a sex ed session every month and a book club session every month. We flip between fiction and nonfiction books, which is really, really fun.
Oh, fun.
I know.
Brad and I got into of course, like everybody in the world, we got into the dragon situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fourth wing.
Yeah. Yes. Fourth
Yeah.
wing, the second one, the third one. You guys, we actually reread the first and second one to listen to the third one. We're going to go back through all three. I highly recommend it with with your partner. I think it's a great. She writes good sex stories. It's not super cheesy, so I really like them.
Yeah, I love that. I think this revolution, I mean, people have been reading romance novels forever, but I think it's really healing. I actually wrote about this in my newsletter this week. Reading sex scenes through a female lens
Mm-hmm.
is really, really healing and really helpful because it gives you the confidence to be like, oh, I can ask for that, or I can wait for that, or I can ask to slow down or speed up or whatever. And I can expect somebody to listen and garner consent and all of those things. So
Yeah.
reading sex scenes through the female lens or listening to them, I think is very, very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I got distracted from your book club. So, what's your website again? What's your handle?
So you can find me at Dr. Celeste Holbrook on Instagram, on YouTube, and my website, drcelesteholbrook.com. I just had a whole mind blank. I was thinking about sex scenes written through the female lens, and I couldn't go back. Yeah, so Dr. Celeste Holbrook is where you can find me almost anywhere. Dr. Celeste Holbrook.
Perfect. Yeah. Sorry, I have an ADHD brain.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. Bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted steps people can take to be it till they see it. What do you have for us this time?
Oh, well, something we talked about already earlier, but the way that I am best executable is actually just to go at my own pace, even though
Yeah.
it's slow.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I really do love that. And I also, you mentioned like the prioritization of self. That's one of the ways you did it. I wanted to acknowledge like when you sat in your car and you shared that something had come to an end, that is also a way of prioritizing yourself because you're feeling your feelings and you're also
Mhm.
letting people know that you're feeling these feelings. Like we don't have to like pretend around people. So just thank you for being you and always for you are always, and the word gets misused, but you are so authentic and so authentic. And just, I really feel like it's been so fun over the past 5 years to watch you grow with what you're doing and how you're educating people and how you're supporting people. And so I'm just so grateful to be on your journey. I can't wait to read your book. I'm so stoked for you.
Oh,
This is the
thank you.
coolest thing. And you guys, how are you gonna use these tips in your life? Please tag Dr. Celeste Holbrook. Send this to a friend. Here's the deal. Not all friendships talk about sex. So one of the things you can do is just send the podcast or the book. You don't have to have if you're not there yet, that's okay. But I think like the more women hear about all these different things that it could be glitter, the more life we're living and the more fun we're having, the more we feel seen. So just thank you so much for being you, Dr. Celeste Holbrook.
Oh, Lesley, you are the reason this book exists. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you so much for having me in your life and on your podcast. And someday we will hug each other in real life.
Yeah. We will. It'll happen. I think this winter tour, I feel it in me. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Until next time, be it till you see it.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.